Welcome to the UTD Tech Store. In this video, we'll be giving you a peek into our custom PC builds. We'll briefly walk you through the process. A build always starts with a stable surface, a screwdriver, an anti-static wrist or ankle band, and a few hours of your time. To begin, remove the motherboard and processor from their packaging and lay it out in front of you. As you can see here, using the anti-static bag that it came in can add an additional layer of protection during the next steps. Next is installing the CPU. Unhinge the lever and lift up, showing the socket that the CPU goes into. Don't worry about that black cover, it will just pop off once you install it. During the installation, make sure that the pins align with the motherboard and the processor. Most CPUs have a small triangle that indicates which direction to put it in. Gently lay the CPU into the socket. If you're using the stock cooler, go ahead and install it on the backplate. It should already be pre-pasted and ready for use. The next step is installing RAM. Align the modules and the DIMM slots, same color if possible, and make sure that the notches match. Start pressing down with equal force until you hear a pop. Make sure you're installing the RAM into the correct channels on the motherboard. In most cases, you'll have between 1 and 4 sticks of memory. If you're using 1 stick, make sure to insert it into memory channel 1. If you're using 2 sticks, make sure you're installing them into channels 1 and 2, and so on. In some cases, you may opt to use an aftermarket cooler, which will follow a slightly different process, but most of them follow a general procedure. You'll have to install a new backplate on the motherboard. Follow the manufacturer's instructions very carefully. Then, you'll have to install the cooler alongside the mounting bracket on top of the backplate. If you're using an all-in-one water cooling kit, you'll have to install the reservoir on an appropriate fan slot. Now it's time to install the motherboard into the case. After removing the case's side panel, check if the standoffs are pre-installed. These are the pegs that the motherboard rests on. If they're pre-installed, simply align the motherboard with the pegs and screw them in. If they don't, you'll have to manually find where the standoffs need to be installed, then align them with the holes in the motherboard and install them yourself. The most common form factors that motherboards come in are full ATX, micro ATX, mini ATX, flex ATX, ITX, and mini ITX. Most case manufacturers will include pegs in such a way that all motherboard form factors are compatible. Once installed, check and see if the case has any additional I/O ports on the front. If they do, you'll need to attach them to the motherboard using the included cables. Find the appropriate PSU slot. Place the power supply into the case. Once you have installed the power supply, you'll need to affix it to the case with 4 screws. Once in place, you need to route the cables alongside the back shroud. Connect the 24-pin and 4-pin power connector to the motherboard, the 8-pin connector in the graphics card, and the SATA power connector in the hard drives. In your case, there should be specific caddies that allot space for a hard drive or a solid-state drive. They usually come in 3.5-inch and 2.5-inch variants. Typically, there are screws already installed in the caddy that must be removed and reinstalled once the drives are put in. Once installed, connect a SATA cable from the motherboard to the hard drive and a SATA power cable from the power supply. For the graphics card, start by removing the PCI shield and unscrewing it from the case and then removing it. Align the GPU with the PCI Express slot, firmly press down, applying equal pressure onto the GPU until it clicks into position. Finish by returning the screws to the PCI shield and secure it to the case. Install either the 4 or 8-pin connectors to the power supply. Then reattach the side panel, and if it posts, then you're ready to begin installing the operating system of your choice. This is all part of the process when you order a custom-built PC here at the UTD Tech Store. Order your own today.